have the pre.
Okay, welcome back to whatever episode this is. Whatever episode it says on the channel is in fact the correct one. Sorry, I just want to make sure that you guys can hear everything. So, we are going to go do a push day. The time is 3:18. I'm debating whether I want to go to the EOS gym that is closer to my apartment or to the one that I can't record at, which is closer. I think I'm leaning towards the one that I can record at because I feel like there's just a more chill crowd. I feel like if I go to the one that is closer, it's going to be super packed. So that's kind of the plan. Yesterday was unfortunately a unforeseen rest day. What the hell happened? So what happened was I had a bunch of work. I had a lot of classes, and the day prior, so this would be Tuesday. I don't know what day this is getting uploaded. Just bear with me. Tuesday night, I got to my apartment around 11:30 because I had... All right. Welcome back. It's episode 11. It might be 10. It might be 12. Whatever YouTube says is correct. However, yesterday, unfortunately, was an unforeseen rest day. Boo. Nothing I wanted to do, believe me. It was just, sometimes I'll give you the rundown. So yesterday was Wednesday. This is going to get uploaded some random day. Just bear with me. Tuesday nights I have rehearsal till about 10 p.m. So I got back to my apartment around 11:30, and I guess I should say I was like kind of in bed trying to fall asleep around 11:30. Not great. Now, I'm really big into getting your sleep. There's a couple reasons why. Now, if you're just a lifter, I can see, maybe you're getting 6 hours of sleep and you're like, all right, I'm going to get up and I'm going to train, whatever. So the problem with that, in general, is that your body does a lot of recovery during sleep. And that's important. If you're not recovering, I've heard a lot of people say that you don't grow muscle in the gym. You break down the muscle in the gym and you build the muscle when you sleep. And I'm all for that. It's also good for your health. So I'm pretty big on my 8 hours. And I know I said, another thing for me is, as a musician, it's really important I get enough sleep because there's a lot of neurological things that happen behind the scenes. If you've ever played piano or touched a piano and tried to learn a piece, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you get a good night's sleep, everything just seems to work. However, if you don't, then you're kind of fumbling. You're a little like, it's like your brain's lagging behind. I don't really like being there. So I made the executive decision on Wednesday morning to get my 8 hours. But that meant, however, that I was not able to make it to the gym before class and before practicing and some of the things that I have to put in front. So then I went throughout the day. I've got a competition coming up this weekend, trombone-wise, so I've kind of got to, lock in for that. But went the whole day, came about 8:15. I get out of GNC, and it's about 8:30. I go and I practice, and my plan was I'm going to go gym after my practice, which was probably going to end around 9:30. I felt kind of a tweak in my chest just from playing, so I kind of made the executive decision to just bonus rest day. Just means I'm going to go super hard today. Sometimes shit happens, I know there's people who will say, you should have gone anyway. You should have gone that morning. You should have sacrificed sleep. I don't think one day is going to kill me. If anything, the research kind of supports it. having just an extra day. I just like going to the gym. If I'm ever accidentally taking a rest day, it's not on purpose. It's just an accident. However, today is its own thing. Had a early morning. I mean, it's just kind of how it is nowadays. Get up, go practice. I went straight from practicing to lesson at 9:30. Went straight to class 10:30. I went straight to chamber music 12:45 or 11:45, and then I went straight to wind ensemble 1 p.m. And then it's 3. So we're gonna go to the gym. We're just busy. But you know what? It's better to be busy than to have nothing to do at all. And better yet, it's better to be busy with the things that you're passionate about than to be doing nothing at all. I have a feeling in the future I will miss the constant battle that is school. I find it hard to believe that people who go to the gym every day and they say that they love the pain, they love the suffering, they love the slow progress, they love all those things, but then they don't want to do their homework. They don't want to go to class. I mean, you can say that you like to grow muscle. You can say that you like to be in a cool environment, but don't say you love the process of getting better unless you apply that everywhere. For me, I love the process of getting better at the trombone. I will never, ever hate practice. Never. I love it. In fact, when I was in high school, I hurt myself on the trombone so much that I could barely play. I mean, I had to start from rock bottom, essentially. And at that point, and I've known people who have gotten there, a lot of people, they quit. They just stopped playing. But I don't know, to me, it almost makes it more fun. You get another round of learning. So, you gotta work hard everywhere, unfortunately, to claim to be one of those people who love working hard and who love the process of getting better. I read a book one time. It was called Chop Wood, Carry Water. I can't remember the author, but essentially the whole book, or the whole premise, the whole moral of the book is that you have to fall in love with the process of getting better. And when you do that, that's when you find fulfillment. If you're always stressed about the product, about what the ending, where you want to be, and you forget that the process is going to get you there, if you don't take care of the process, if you don't enjoy it, if you don't, hope that it lasts forever, then you actually won't get as far. So anyway, rant over. In a way, I'm trying to make myself feel better. So what we have here, I haven't eaten anything since breakfast. I mean, I haven't had time. I could grab like a protein bar, but you know what? If I don't get the biggest pump ever, it's not a big deal. What I want is to have great rep ranges, which I know I will. I'm looking for 8 to 12, and I'm pretty highly motivated right now to just absolutely cook all the muscles I'm about to work. Something I debated yesterday was maybe I should change today into an upper body workout. The upper lower split, it's like a 4-day split, is pretty popular. There's also the upper body, lower body, and then some people do like a variations on push-pull legs with it. I think it works pretty well for those people. I've heard good things. I just wouldn't want to only be in the gym for 4 days. That's just how I work. So I'm not sure if I just kind of hop back on my split. The only issue with that is that then Tuesdays are going to become my rest days, or do I just annex the rest day this week from the split because I took a extra rest day yesterday? I don't know. I don't really have a plan. Part of me wants to just annihilate my chest right now and just absolutely destroy it. The reason for that is yesterday at GNC, a guy came in and he looked about my size, didn't really notice anything, and we're talking about protein, we're talking about, where he goes to school and all these things. Great conversation. And he's like, yeah, I'm preparing for my pro bodybuilding competition. Really? I mean, he's wearing kind of a baggy shirt, baggy sweats. You can't really tell. Yeah. And so I look him up on Instagram. That guy was huge, inspirational. And the whole rest of the evening, again, this is the day that I didn't work out. It pained me because this guy was huge. He looked amazing. And I was like, man, I'm so ready to just go and destroy my chest because his chest looked awesome. And I was just like, I got to do that. I got to find a way to do that. And unfortunately, sometimes the cards just aren't in your favor. That's okay. However, today is a new day. The chest is just begging to be tossed around, to be, again, absolutely annihilated. So, let's see. Let's see what we got in the tank. Again, we're not loaded up on carbs. We're not loaded up on anything, really, except for water. And we're just going to see how fucking pumped we can get. It's as simple as that. And even more important than that, we're going to enjoy the process of building muscle. We're going to enjoy the process of getting that pump. Whether we get that pump or not, if I love the pain, if I love, pushing myself to the absolute limit, that pump's going to happen. But it's not going to happen if I take a couple seconds between sets to see if the pump's happening. No, it's not happening. And then I rush into my next set or something. No. Milk it for all it's worth, Anyway, I'm going to see you guys in the gym, I think. And because I'm going to that other gym, I think I might be able to record some. So let's get this phone charged up again, and I'll see you guys in the gym. Gym is super packed right now. And I'm kind of I'm in holding space. It's grind time. So I might just focus on that and not try to bother anybody. So I'll see you guys in the car. I need you guys to promise you won't be mad. What's your promise? I didn't record the workout. I'm sorry, guys. All right. I'm sorry. It's just when it's so busy and the gym's not super big, and when you go too late in the afternoon and there's just a million people, sometimes you just got to be in the zone. Not the end of the world, when there's not that many people, it really doesn't bother me to record. But I just don't like being annoying. And I definitely don't want somebody coming up to me again and asking me not to record. I'm going to record workouts. I just got to wake my ass up and get 8 hours. How we're going to do that? We're going to figure it out. Only time will tell. But despite the lack of video evidence, that shit slapped. I was hella hungry. I was hella weak. But by gosh darn diddly squat did we fucking grind. That was wild. I did, I think, like 10 sets of shoulders. That's too much volume for me, probably. I did hell of a lot of sets of chest. I mean, I went crazy on chest, guys. I started off, so again, everything was taken. So I grabbed some dumbbells, and we did some incline dumbbell press. Hell yeah. I kept my rep range. I hit 12, then 10, then 8, and then 6 with like a shit ton of partials. So 4 working sets on my first chest movement. I went over, I started doing some lat raises. Usually I do like a shoulder press, but I was like, dude, we're just going to spam lateral raises. Nothing wrong with that. So I went over, picked up I picked up the 35s and then the 40s, and I did 5 sets, all around 9 to 11 reps, we'll say. I was never really going less than 9, and that cooked me like fucking hell. And then I went over, I grabbed the straight bar, and I did some push downs for the triceps. I did 72 and a half, which is, you know, depending. I kind of just say the number that I associate with the machine. It might be that it might be like half that, you know, because of the pulley system. I don't honestly remember, but it was more than what we did last time. Last time I was at like 65, and we cranked that shit out for, we did 3 sets of it, and we did 3 sets at the 72 and a half. We started off at like 10 reps, and then by the end of it, we were dropping down to 8, and then to 6, and then I did a drop set. So, you know, I think I've talked about this earlier. Is, you know, if you're gonna do less, if you accidentally do less reps, no big deal. Just make it a drop set, crank some more out. Then after that, I was gonna try to do some more chest. I was gonna do some flies, or like they have the hammer strength machines. I like those. I was looking for one of those, but they were all taken. So I went over, and you guys might remember on a couple push days ago, where I was using the machine, like the lat raise machine. Hopped on that, spammed out like 3 or 4 more sets. Actually, it might have been 4 or 5. It was a lot. Again, another drop set towards the last set. And then I went over and did a couple sets of the hammer strength press. And then when the flies opened up, so I went over and I did some more chest flies. Guys, that shit. I usually am not like a guy who, I don't love like checking myself out in the mirror. You know, like I'll do it on camera just because it's kind of nice to be able to track progress. But I was in the locker room and I was like, dude, we got to take the shirt off. We got to check this shit out. It was a crazy chest pump. No carbs, you know. No reason why it should have been a good pump. We were, borderline fasted. No carbs in the system. You know, kind of mid-late, like groggy part of the day for me after a bunch of classes and playing. And no reason, absolutely no stinking reason why it should have been a good pump. The only thing that makes sense as to why it turned out so well was because I just fucking wanted to destroy my chest. I don't know how, like, it's so easy, you know, like as a trombone player, I find myself, I'm like, well, I'm just going to listen to some great music in the morning to get me really hyped up to play. And then the morning comes and I'm like, I don't really want to listen to, you know, a trombone solo right now. I don't want to. And then I don't, and then I'm not super hyped up for practice. And practice is fine, but it's not like what you want to aim for are not the gym sessions or practice sessions or any sessions where you just stay the same, man. It's just not worth it. I'm really motivated right now for no reason. The last thing I want to do is just like go sit in the practice room and just do stuff mindlessly. Go to the gym and just kind of mindlessly go from exercise to exercise. I And I know guys like that. I've known guys who I see them in the gym every day, and I know because I've seen, like, they're people I know back in Arkansas. Just they're in the gym every day. I go back like 5 years later, and I'm in the gym at 4 a.m. and they're the same people there, and they look the exact same. And I get that not everybody's goal is to get, super huge, but like, man, dude. To me, going to the gym, like, I'm not even looking to get huge, but I am looking to change for the better in some shape or form, whether that be like I go to the gym and I now have more passion to get better at other things in my life. That's kind of a benefit of going to the gym. It's not just about getting huge. I mean, that's great. Trust me, I love putting on some muscle, but I like that I can go to the gym if I'm like in a bad mood, I can go to the gym. I'm in a good mood now. Change, I like it that I can go to the gym and maybe be a little tired and maybe not motivated, and I can come out, change. Now I'm not tired and I'm ready to go. There are benefits to the gym that aren't as bro as I think people realize. I think, most people who go to the gym regularly know that. Not that it's, I don't know, actually. Obviously you can get addicted to things, duh. But I don't know what how you would categorize the gym. Some people have described exercise as an addiction, and I completely believe it. I get it. It makes sense to me, because sometimes if you don't go, you don't feel good. And it's more of a mental thing at times. Like even yesterday when I didn't go, it's like mental torment driving home and thinking, all these people would probably go to the gym, and kind of having to force myself to be like, no, I need to get sleep. I know that. That's just what I got to do. But like the mental torment of just thinking like, man, I cannot believe we didn't work out today. It's rough. However, you can't take any of that too seriously, because the problem with taking it super seriously is you develop like a negative relationship, not only with the gym, but with yourself. If you don't go to the gym one day, I'm not saying you shouldn't like try your best. Some people will be, oh, it's okay, I don't have to go to the gym because, I just don't feel like it. If I don't feel like it, I shouldn't do it. I'm not really a fan of that. But let's say, again, you have a super busy day. You just cannot find time, and it just can't be something you do that day. You also don't want to be the guy who's saying, you're stupid. I can't believe you didn't find a way to do it. I can't believe you didn't make it happen, blah, 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 blah. Because then you kind of develop a negative relationship with yourself, I know a lot of musicians who put a lot of worth into their playing. And I mean, I do that too. However, you kind of don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Because let's say you get hurt, something happens, you move and there's maybe not a gym that you got to take a week off or something, like something weird happens and you can't really figure out a way to train. I mean, there's typically workarounds for that. The gym is, you can be pretty flexible. But let's say just something crazy happens and you can't work out for like a month. What are you going to do? Are you just going to like be super sad? You kind of have to find other avenues of satisfaction. For me, like if I'm playing the trombone and it sucks, which is more often than not, then I can just be sad or go to the gym and be happy again. Because gym is also something I'm passionate about. And I don't tie like maybe 20% of my self-worth is in trombone playing. If it's not good, then I go and do a different 20% thing, and that is good. So I end of the day maybe 80%. It's hard to have a day where everything goes your way, and if I can't play trombone and the gym's bad, I can play piano, I can write music. That's all bad that I can go to work and I can help people, find solutions to maybe their weight loss problems. Because a lot of times people are coming into GNC, and I'm trying to coach them on how, maybe they can, navigate maybe their weight loss journey or their strength building journey, all these things. Kind of give them a couple tips and tricks. I'm not an expert, but I know a thing or two because I've worked out. And just trying to get people like on the best path and just doing right by not making them spend, a pretty penny on stuff that's not going to work. So all of that being said, some days all that's going to go wrong. And you're just going to be sitting there, and it's hard, but you have to find something that's like your fail safe. All right. If everything goes wrong, it is really easy to get into a rut. This day sucks. I couldn't go to the gym. This other thing I like, it was bad. This was bad. This was bad. This was bad. And that's when people sometimes will turn to their coping mechanisms. And obviously there are good and bad coping mechanisms, right? The gym, I think, is actually considered, for most people, a coping mechanism. Kind of depends on your situation. But, there's like eating is a very common one. Stress eating. You don't really, if you're on a weight loss journey and everything's going wrong, one, if you nail your diet that day, that's a win. If you don't nail your diet that day, it's okay, but don't stress eat more because of that. I think something for me, if everything is just dog shit, dude. I mean, trombone playing's bad. I go to the gym, not feeling it. I'm in I've got writer's blocks, everything's wrong. Then I listen to like my favorite music, there are a couple like classical pieces of music that I'll listen to that will just put me in a great mood. I think of the march from Symphony Fantastique, the bum 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 ba yum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum bum bim bum. You roll the windows down, you crank that, and you just try to remember none of this is as serious as we think it is. Because I think I mentioned this in another video. Tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and that's worth more than $1 billion. Every day. Tomorrow I get $1 billion in equivalent because I just woke up. And that's exciting. And I'm in kind of a mood right now where I'm like, that's how I feel. Like $1 million for no reason. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I just worked out. Playing today was meh. I had a lesson and it was fine. But because I'm not super. I try to have everything work out really well. But if stuff doesn't work out, I allow that to be what it is and nothing more. Nothing catastrophic. Again, I know so many people, especially musicians, who they practice and that's all they do. They play and they're fine players, but if they have an off day, you don't want to talk to them because they are. I mean, I've seen people just bawl their eyes out to me. I've been there too, trust me. And they just are in panic mode, and it creeps into like the rest of their week because you start to stress even more. Because then if it's bad one day, then tomorrow it better be better. And if it's not, then it kind of becomes exponential. No bueno. Let the bad things be as they are. I know most people watching this are not musicians. But there's an interesting phenomenon with the face. When you're playing a brass instrument, you can get really tight. Your muscles, it's like any other muscle. If your muscles get tight here, it's harder to make sound. And I saw this fantastic post that a trumpet player made, and she was playing trumpet and she was playing really soft, and it sounded horrible. It was like blah 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 blah. It was flubby because the muscles or the lips were super tight, and it was making a bad sound. There was like a double buzz. But what she did is she blew, and she accepted the bad sound, and she released that tension. And at the end of the note, it was a long note that she played. At the end of the note, it was a beautiful sound, because she didn't fight against the tension. She just let it happen, and she let it resolve itself. And I thought that was like kind of a beautiful analogy, or metaphor for everything in life, that you shouldn't necessarily fight against the things that are going wrong, but you can just take a step back, let them do what they need to do, be what they need to be in the moment. Not all negative things are going to turn out catastrophically bad. And if you recognize that and you just take a step back, then sometimes you end the note really beautifully, and that sets you up for success for the rest of whatever it is you're doing. So I'm allowing for a little bit longer card talk because there wasn't much of a push day. But if I'm being honest, when I watch people work out, like let's say I'm watching, I don't know, anybody really. I'm not really, I've been doing this so long, I kind of know the exercises that work for me. And I don't know if anybody would necessarily watch this, especially with, I'm not like a huge guy. Nobody's watching it to like see what I'm doing. How did he get so big? I don't think I'm getting the steroid allegations anytime soon. But I do like to hear people's like thought process, and so, and I know the people I hang out with hate fucking hearing me talk about this shit. So I don't. But it's kind of nice to, share to whoever needs to hear it. Because I'll tell you what, you do something nice for somebody, you have no idea how that actually impacts them. You can see like the material side of it. Okay, you gave somebody $1. Okay, you know that, but you don't know how that affects them emotionally. I remember one time, I was dirt poor. I mean, so broke. And I was living here. So if any of my friends watch this, they'll know. Dirt poor, dude. And hungry, starving. And I was coming back from somewhere. I don't know. And I was like, dude, I'm so hungry. I'm going to get a Little Caesars pizza. Little Caesars, my homie, always there for me. And I showed up, and I think I only had cash. And the pizza ended up being like, I don't know, like $9.50. And I showed up, and I had like $9 and like 12 cents. And I handed it to him. I was like, dude, I can run out to my car and grab some more. And the guy behind the counter just looked at me and he goes, it's fine. And if you've never met somebody who is just willing to make like a casual sacrifice for you for no reason, just to be nice, those people are the best. You text somebody, hey, I need a ride, and they're like, sure. Those people, you got to protect those people. Because when I got in my car with my pizza, I had the biggest smile on my face. Like, I had just this, I think I might have broke down crying. I mean, it was a hard time for me. And when he just said, don't worry about the change, I was like, what a nice guy. What a human being, right? And so you never know. You never know how what you're doing, you might think it's the end of the world if something goes wrong, but even that mistake might impact somebody's life in a positive way. I remember I wrote a brass quintet for one of my sister's friends who passed away. And I performed it on my junior recital, and the parents of my sister's friend who passed away, the parents lived in Chicago. So I invited them to come hear the piece that I'd written in memory of their son. And they came, and I played it, and it was very emotional. I mean, I remember calling his mother and telling her, like, hey, I wrote this piece. I was wondering, A, if I can perform it, and B, if you would like to come. And I started breaking down on the phone because it was so hard, because I put so much emotional energy into this piece and I'd never communicated with their family. I'd written the whole piece, and it was like years later before I had performed it. And I just remember, like, I called and I just broke down immediately. It was like all this emotion just flowing. And after the performance, I remember thinking, like, that wasn't our best run of the quintet. You know, it was at my recital. It was okay. You know, we messed up. And, well, my sister's friend, their parents, they came up to my parents and they said that listening to that piece of music was like having their son back for one more day. And after hearing that, you know, I was like, wow. We are so blessed every day to be doing what we do, but we oftentimes underestimate the impact we can have by just doing the simple things that we always do, but with the intention to make something beautiful for somebody else. And I remember when they said that, I was blown away, because it was nothing that I could have possibly expected. You know, I was worried they weren't going to like it, you know, but with how much thought I put into the piece, and just like, I mean, it was a big deal for me. I mean, I'm not going to go into all the details, but just know that even something like helping your buddy out at the gym, taking him to the gym for the first time and showing him the ropes and not being a jerk, saying, hey man, you're doing a great job. Or, like, you know, maybe he's working out for a month. You look pretty good. I'm seeing some muscle definition, man. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. That little thing might give that guy 2 more months of motivation. You have no idea, and you never will. So always choose to be somebody who's gonna strive to do things for another person, rather than, you know, worrying too much. I talked about this earlier, about the end result. You know, you should love the process of being great and making positive change in your life. But on top of that, if you want to be an overachiever, I'm not necessarily saying I'm an overachiever or anything, but it's something I strive to do, and it's what I would consider overachieving. If you want to be an overachiever, I think you should learn to love other people's processes too. And be there to help them, and not be the person on the sideline when you see somebody's day, you know, going to shit. Don't just hang out, you know. Take a step forward and say something nice. I mean, again, this is gonna be the longest card talk of them all. I remember one day I was at Northwestern, and I just remember I had parked my car somewhere illegally, shocker. And I remember I saw this, I was about to do something really fun with my friends, something super fun. And I was walking into the dorms, and we were about to go, like, I don't know, party or something. And I saw an old man walking across the street at like a snail's pace. I mean, somebody whose legs were probably not feeling great. And I saw him walking across the street, and there just wasn't like a parking lot nearby or anything. And my friend was with me, and I said, we need to go ask this guy if he needs help with something. And I walk up to him and I say, hey, you know, I've got my car parked over here. It's, you know, it's not where it should be. What if, you know, can I give you a ride somewhere? And he looked at me, he said, please. They moved my car. They towed my car, and I need to, like, I need somebody to take me to where it's at. And he was like, it was going to take me like hours to get there. And I said, fucking hop in. We're going on a ride. And I drove him all the way over there. Turns out he was like a dean at Northwestern. Like, I mean, he surely retired, you know, but like he had worked there for a long time. And it was just kind of a special moment, you know. I don't remember, it was years ago, but I just remember that night being like, wow. Again, something I didn't think would be that big of a deal was something huge for somebody else. And there's so many examples of that. And I'm sure anybody watching this can think about those examples to themselves. And this is just a call to action that maybe tomorrow try to do one of those things. You know, it's not very difficult. You know, it's like cardio. It's like going out and walking. It's not difficult, but if you can somehow make it a habit every day to do that small thing, weight's going to fall off. You know, it's going to make it so much easier, and you're not going to feel that much different. You know, if anything, you're going to feel a lot better. So anyway, your boy's got to get gas. Your boy is struggling to get gas right now. We have 7 miles left, and there's not really a good pump. Lovely. But anyway, that's where I'm going to cut it off. Lots of random shit I talked about today. Sorry about that. Sorry for the lack of working out. It's not really for anybody in particular. So, if you hate it, fucking leave a dislike. Go for it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And we're going to record some workout. I also just did chest and shoulders. So, tomorrow's pull day. Should be good. See y'all later.